Hi everyone. I wanted to come on today to share some news from Tech Nation. They've just made an announcement on the 31st of January, and I thought I'd just do a quick webinar about what that means now for everyone who wants to apply for the UK Global Talent Visa in digital technology. So just quickly, this is a recorded webinar. I haven't gone live because it would just take too long. So I thought I'd quickly just do this to share a few of my thoughts and some information about the new announcement. So just a little bit about myself, the Tech Nation announcement, which is why you're probably watching this video. And then I'll go through the Global Talent Visa process if you still want to apply. And there is still time depending on where you are in the process. I'll talk about the stage 1 endorsement application and process, the guidelines, how I can support you during this uncertain time, and some of my top tips as well to help you along the process if you still want to apply. So just quickly about myself, I am Vietnamese, Australian and British. I have been endorsed with exceptional talent for the Global Talent Visa. I'm also a Global Talent Visa coach as well, because in 2016, I applied for the Global Talent Visa. It was actually called the Exceptional Talent Visa back then, but it's now called the Global Talent Visa. I was also the Tech Nation Visa Ambassador as well. As we know, hopefully, as you know, this route, the Global Talent Visa route, is a route to settlement. So in 2019, I applied for permanent residency, which is an indefinite leave to remain. And then I received my British citizenship as a result. So I'm now a British citizen. I can live and work in the UK freely, and there are no restrictions on what I can do. I spent 7 years in the UK. I was living in Manchester, London and Newcastle. Before I became a tech entrepreneur, I was an Australian solicitor working in Perth, and got bitten by the entrepreneurial bug when I was actually in England for under another visa, and then decided to switch to the Global Talent. When I switched, and got the visa, not many people knew about it at the time. I mean, I was one of the top 50 that received the visa in 2016. So I wrote a blog about it just to share my journey, because it was 3 months of my life really that I didn't sleep. I was really worried because my current existing visa was expiring. So this took over my life for 3 months, and I wanted to share my story and share my tips with other people. And then that blog went viral. And over the years now, I've helped so many people. I've helped over 500 tech entrepreneurs, senior exec and tech employees, having been a successful recipient myself and having helped so many other people do it. This is now my full-time job. I did exit my startup a couple of years ago to focus on this full-time. My success rate is 90%, and some of my clients have received a result within 3 hours to 27 hours, but the average decision time is about 3 to 4 weeks, which is pretty good considering that they can take up to 8 weeks for a decision. My clients have been varied, which is great, which is why I love my job. I work with people who work for WhatsApp, Sony, LinkedIn, Facebook, Zoom, Google, Oracle. I help people who work in startups, CTOs, CEOs, UX designers, graduates. The list goes on and on. Even though the roles are very similar, as you can see, no two stories or people are the same, even though their roles are very similar. Everyone has a unique story to tell, and this is what I help all my clients do, is to tell their story, but also meet the guidelines and the criteria which is set by Tech Nation, the endorsing body. So just a quick disclaimer, this is just about the stage 1 endorsement. I'm not affiliated with Tech Nation. I used to be the Tech Nation Visa Ambassador. I'm no longer an ambassador, and I'm not affiliated with the Home Office. So stage 2 is a visa application stage, but I don't help with that either. So it's just the stage 1 endorsements that I help with. So for me, when I received my visa, I had to show, that I was immersed in the digital tech sector in the UK. And once I got the visa, I was still doing it. So here are some of the examples that show my leadership in this space. I was running a wearable tech startup, and that went on to, leading me to talk about so many other things about the tech industry, So I was interviewed in TechCrunch, in Business Leader. I was a judge at an IoT hackathon for Media Tech Labs. I was featured in the Sunday Times about my startup. People were asking me questions about the wearable technology industry. I was quoted in books. I was asked to host some awards evening tables and things like that. So it was just an amazing journey to be on. And all this kind of happened organically, but only because I was very active in my tech community and I was getting really involved in, growing it. And it was such an amazing place to be in. I was, traveling to Manchester, Newcastle, London. I was just everywhere, but really enjoyed it while running my startup as well. So here you can read my blog on my website, is how it all started. And this is the blog that went viral, which then led to me helping and coaching other applicants with their stage 1 endorsements. So these are just some of my clients that have been successful. As I said, they're from different big companies, but also from small startups as well. And these are just a range of people from different countries, different companies. And these are just some of them. And I've interviewed all of these amazing, successful recipients of the Global Talent Visa. And it's on my YouTube channel, which I'll share with you later. But these are just some of my clients who've agreed to share their story, and everyone has a unique story to tell, and you should really watch them and just be inspired. I mean, some of these clients weren't successful the first time they applied and then came and asked for my help, and they were successful. Some of them were on expiring visas and, only had a few months or weeks to apply, and I helped them become successful. And some of them applied the first time, but, I helped them with that journey. So it's just been an amazing journey for them, and also for me. Their success is my success. So I want everyone to be successful. And as I said, my success rate is 90%, which is quite high considering the endorsement rate is 54%. So yeah, these are just some of my clients, but now they're like my friends after this process, and it is a life-changing process as well as a journey that they go through. So just quickly, this is why you're here. Tech Nation on the 31st of January announced Tech Nation is the endorsing body, and they have been the endorsing body since the visa was launched in 2014. They announced that they will cease to exist from the 31st of March 2023. It's really upsetting that they have ceased to exist, but the reason is because, unfortunately, they lost their funding for their bigger programs. Okay, there was a huge amount of funding that they bid for. However, unfortunately, for them, it went to another organization, and part of the program that they also run is the visa program and some other research programs and other smaller programs. It just wasn't viable for them to continue with that without that huge amount of funding that they had received previously. So they decided that they're going to transfer those assets to a new body, including the visa program. And this is all outlined in their on their website. Unfortunately, they will cease to exist, but let's think about, what does this mean for the visa? The visa, they haven't announced, the Home Office hasn't announced that the visa will cease to exist as well. It's just the endorsing body, which is Tech Nation, that are ceasing to exist, which means Tech Nation will no longer assess applications post 31st of March. But we know that there's still a bit of time for them to still process applications, and this is their part of their announcement, is that this contract is up, and they have notified the Home Office that their plans to cease operations, and the visa program will continue in the immediate term, which is good news, right? But they haven't given us any particular dates. They have all these assets and an internationally acclaimed brand, which is the TechNation brand, and they've already started discussions with mission-based organizations to take these forward for the next decade. So they're already in discussions, but formally they are inviting expressions of interest from interested parties, and the deadline is the 14th of February 2023. So nothing formal has been announced because they're still working it out. They're looking at potentially giving this job to a new body, and they would be the endorsing body. The Home Office has said that they are working very closely with TechNation to ensure the continuity of the digital tech strand of the Global Talent Visa in the short term, while they explore long-term changes necessary in light of TechNation's planned closure. So they're also reassuring applicants already part of the global talent route that they won't be disadvantaged, so they can continue to stay in the UK on their global talent visa. Again, it's not, they haven't really said much, but all we know at the moment is that TechNation are still assessing applications in the immediate term, and the Home Office is looking at ways on how to address that moving forward. So they are working with each other to find out who is going to be the new endorsing body. What this means for people who are wanting to apply, I've been getting so many questions about, when should they apply? When should they apply? Should they not apply? What's the latest date to apply? Because we know that TechNation can take up to 8 weeks to make a decision. 8 weeks is 31st of January. Okay. But on average, they've been taking around 3 to 4 weeks to make a decision. But again, that's just on average. You also have to take into consideration if there's an appeal, there's a 28 calendar day to appeal a decision and 28 calendar days for them to come back with a decision on the appeal. So already we're out of time. But if people still want to apply, this is a way, these are the dates that I can share with you if you still want to apply. So the guidelines have said that for you to apply for the stage 1, you have to submit your TechNation application form no more than 15 working days after you submit your Home Office application. Okay, if you don't do that, then your application will be rejected as invalid. Okay, what does that really mean? Okay, right. So the stage 1 endorsement, there's 2 steps to the stage 1 endorsement. The first step is you have to pay at the Home Office. This is here. Okay, this is a very formal. Okay, it's to the Home Office telling them that you want to apply for the stage 1 endorsement. Okay, there's lots of things you have to do other than just paying. You have to go through the application. You have to put in your personal details. The documents, you don't upload any documents onto the portal, onto the Home Office portal, because TechNation have their own portal over here, but I'll talk about that in a sec. And then you declare and pay, and then you download the application packs. This is just the Home Office. The date that you pay at the Home Office is considered the date that you've submitted your application to TechNation, even though you haven't actually submitted it, because that action will be done on this stage. It's the TechNation portal. Okay, but you have 15 working days to upload your documents onto the TechNation portal after you've paid at the 456 at the Home Office. Okay, so once you've paid at the Home Office, you've got 15 working days to then upload your documents onto the TechNation portal. 15 working days is Monday to Friday, not including Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so this is where you would upload your documents. Again, this is 15-day working day limit. Okay, so you can see that there's that 2-stage process. Once you pay, that's your formal date that you are submitting your application, but you're actually submitting it within the 15 working day limit. Okay, so that's the dates. That's the only thing I can give you right now, because that's all we have. TechNation haven't provided any other dates other than that they're waiting for expressions of interest to come in on the 14th of February. But in the meantime, if people still want to apply, they still have an opportunity to, looking at these logistical ways to apply, because TechNation have said that they are still accepting applications in the immediate term. But looking at these dates, you can work backwards and see when you can apply and when's the latest you can apply, knowing that they're going to cease to exist on the 31st of March. Having said that, they may make an announcement after the expressions of interest, and they've still got time to make any further announcements. But I know it is very uncertain at the moment about when to submit, when not. Should you submit? I can't tell you that, but all I can tell you is the process at the moment. And I'm working through with my clients on asking them to, once that we've done all their documents, which we have, is start paying and then uploading your documents. And we're still within giving TechNation time to assess and review their application before the 31st of March. I hope that helps. This is more than what we could ask for. I don't know, there's not a lot more that we can say until TechNation have confirmed any other dates or any other announcements. But at the moment, they're still assessing in the immediate term. Home Office knows they're working out who can be the endorsing body. Okay, so I hope that helps at least to give you some clear idea about what to do next. If you want to, I mean, you can apply, or you can not apply and wait for the new endorsing body and see. Okay. I've got more information, well, on my blog about the announcement. So if you want to have a read of it, go onto my website, click on blog, and this is the second blog, so you'll see it. It is not the end of the visa, it's just the end of TechNation as the endorsing body. I know last week when people read the news, the first thing they said was the global talent visa is gone. Well, it's not. It's just the endorsing body has made the announcement that they will cease to exist. The visa is still there. That's a stage 2 application. We know stage 2 cannot go ahead without stage 1, but they are working on seeing if the new endorsing body will take over. And I'm hopeful that there will be, and I'll give you the reasons why a bit later on. So now that we've gone through that, if you know all about the visa now, you can, go and have a look at your own applications. But if you want a bit more information about the UK Global Talent Visa, it used to be the Exceptional Talent Visa. It was a special visa that was introduced to allow highly skilled entrepreneurs and talent in digital tech the ability to apply for the right to live in the work in the UK for up to 5 years. There's a 2-stage process. Stage 1 is the endorsement with 2 steps, and stage 2 is the Home Office visa application. You cannot apply for the visa unless you are endorsed by TechNation, who is currently the endorsing body. You have to meet the strict criteria set by TechNation before you can apply for the visa. And it is more than a job application. The hashtag is TechNation Visa because the Global Talent Visa is an umbrella visa that has lots of different endorsing bodies, TechNation being currently one of the endorsing bodies for the digital tech strand. So the benefits is, and this is why I chose it, is it gives you the freedom and flexibility to live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. You can apply for indefinite leave to remain and British citizenship, and I can attest to that because I am a British citizen. A lot of people also ask me, when a lot of people were unfortunately being made redundant from their jobs, and there's been a lot going on at the moment, could they switch from their tier 2 skilled worker visa to the global talent? Yes, you can switch. I switched from an entrepreneur's visa, and my time in the UK under that visa counted towards my global talent visa as well. So that was really helpful. Same thing with the tier 2 skilled worker visa. The time does count. Why it's important is because if you are endorsed with exceptional talent, in 3 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. And if you're on the skilled worker visa, then you can use that time to get ILR faster. You can also bring your dependents with you as well, which is really great. And that would be children under 18 and spouses and partners. You can also register a UK limited company. You can work for a tech company without the need for a company sponsorship, which is that skilled worker visa. And the visa, the global talent visa, is attached to you. So that means that you are free to work for anyone. And if you don't like your job, you can always resign and start at another company without having to worry about sponsorship. And this was perfect for me. I wasn't really working for anyone at the time. I was my own boss. I was a startup entrepreneur, but I wanted a break from it. And then I ended up working for an accelerator, and I worked for a university without worrying about them sponsoring me. And then I went back to my startup. So it was really flexible, and it gave me the opportunity to work for companies and then go back to my startup. It's also quite cost effective. So the Home Office application for stage 1 is £456. It's only when you get to stage 2, the visa stage, where it's a little bit more expensive, but at least the stage 1 endorsement isn't too bad. So these are just some of the stats. There are been so many applications from loads of different countries, like I think it was over 5,500 applications from over 120 countries. So, USA, India, Nigeria, Canada, Russia being, the majority, but obviously there's more. There's a 54% endorsement rate, so it is quite high. This unsuccessful rate, but that's because the criteria is quite strict. So this is where I help people fulfill the criteria. There've been over 3,000 successful recipients over the years, even though there've been about 5,500 applications. So that's where the 54% success rate comes in. When I applied, there were only 200 endorsements per year, but in I think late December of 2020, they lifted that cap. So anyone who applies could potentially be endorsed, which is great. So that's why it's unlimited endorsements. You can apply for talent or promise, and the stats are more people apply under talent than they under promise, but they're just stats. There's a 75-25 for women who work in tech who've got the visa as well. Again, tech is a male-dominated industry, and there's less females working in it. So my work in advocating women in tech, when I lived in the UK, definitely I was out there doing so much for women in tech, girls in tech, and I was a STEM ambassador as well. And once you are endorsed and you get the visa, you can join the Tech Nation Visa Alumni. They hold events around London, and they have a Slack and Facebook group that you can join, because, there's not many of us there. We've been through this stressful journey, and it's lovely to meet other people once you get to the other side, and you can help each other when you move to the UK, and people from your own countries as well who work in tech have been through this process. So it's really great community to join. So over the years, there have been applications that, have been submitted, but obviously these are just applications, not endorsements. So you can see it's increased year on year. Okay. I was a little bit worried when COVID happened in terms of, are people going to apply? What's going to happen? Actually, during COVID, that's when I was really busy, because people were working from home. They had more time to work on their applications. They weren't traveling. They weren't going out. They were looking at their future and what that looked like. So I was really busy during COVID. And that's when even the decision time reduced to 3 to 4 weeks. Before it was quite a lot longer than that. So COVID made applications and decisions from assessors come back quicker as well. So as you can see, COVID didn't really affect applications. People were still submitting. And then, in the last year, it shot right up. There's so many people. I think mainly it's also because, because of the redundancies in tech, and people were really worried about their jobs. The Global Talent Visa is one of those more flexible visas to have, and it's attached to you. So far there's been 2,235 applications. I know this because when my clients submit, I have I know the code that they give, and it tells me how many applications. And this is from April to April every year. They don't start from January, which is strange. So it's from April last year, 2021, and until April this year. Okay. So this report has been the most accurate in terms of giving the stats on endorsement rates per country. The other reports in 2021 and 2022 doesn't give these stats, so it's pretty similar, I would say. So you can see that people from these countries, the endorsement rate is Nigeria 30%, which isn't very high, but then in China there's been, you know, a high rate of endorsement. These are just stats, but I mean, when I looked at the numbers, though, there are less people applying from China than there are from Nigeria, say. So, you know, of course, it's going to be higher if there's only like, you know, 10 people apply and 8 people get in, as opposed to, you know, maybe 3,000 apply and, you know, 30% get in. So it's just numbers. Don't worry about it too much, but that's the stats that they gave. I do help a lot of my clients are from Nigeria and from India. I get a lot of clients from the US as well. Even though the stats are high, I still get clients from the US. So they're mainly my main clientele. And I've got quite a high success rate as well. So as I said, it's 90%. These are the jobs that people have been applying under because it's tech and they have been endorsed. So obviously, because it's a tech visa, software engineering is one of those roles that people are getting endorsed under. But again, you know, you can also have a business skill and be endorsed. And that's a great thing about this visa. So have a look down here. These are just stats about the skills, and people are getting endorsed under marketing, digital design, network engineers. So that's those stats there. Now, as I said before, the Global Talent Visa is an umbrella visa, and then there's different endorsing bodies. So again, remember stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 is the endorsement stage. So as you can see, this is just something for you to see. And this is where I feel like, you know, the Tech Nation visa or the Global Talent Visa in digital technologies is quite a lucrative one for the country, and also compared with all the other endorsing bodies, it's quite a good one. And this is why I feel like it probably won't go away. You know, it's one of the more popular routes, and it's a tech route. Everything else, British Academy, Royal Society, engineering, these are science and engineering, this is research, this is tech, and this is fashion, arts, architecture. So, you know, just because Tech Nation, the endorsing body, is ceasing to exist, there should really be another one for tech. Okay. So you can see some of the stats there. That's for the endorsements. And then there's the visa application process. This is where I want to go through here. The visas that are provided or granted, 11% from Royal Academy Engineering, Royal Society, 17%, 11%, UKRA 18%, Tech Nation 22%, and Arts Council 21%. So Tech Nation does come out on top the most. Okay, so this is why, fingers crossed, they hopefully won't get rid of the tech visa. The stats are very clear about you know, it is one of those routes that are the more popular routes. So let's have a look, go back to the Global Talent Visa in digital technology. If you still want to apply, you need to have worked for a product-led digital technology company, or use examples when you were working or are working for a product-led digital technology company. Okay, these are defined as businesses that actually develop products, provide a proprietary digital technical service, product, platform, hardware as their primary revenue source. Okay, so if you work for or are a founder of this company that develops its own products for its customers to license or by subscription or by selling, then yes, you could potentially use these companies as examples for to meet the criteria, and it helps with eligibility as well. If you work for a consultancy or an agency, or you outsource, or you work for an outsourcing company, then you're not really eligible to apply. It's really for those who work for product-led digital technology companies. There's 15 documents which you have to submit, okay? This consists of your CV, a personal statement, and 3 letters of recommendations by experts, and then 10 documents which consist of mandatory and optional criteria. And they should really be roughly 3 pages each, except your personal statement is 1,000 words. It's roughly about 2 pages. Okay, so this is set by the Home Office, and then Technation provide the guidelines in which to explain what they want in your personal statement, in your letters by experts, and what does your mandatory and optional criteria look like. So the eligibility criteria, in order to be eligible, you should have a technical or business skill, okay, and have a look at that list. You shouldn't really be working for an outsourcer or as a consultant. They're not considered suitable, okay? You can be a founder or employee as well. So I've had lots of questions that they said it's only for entrepreneurs. No, it doesn't really say that. It's you can be a founder, and it can be an entrepreneur, or you can be an employee. There are 2 categories in which you can apply under. There's the exceptional talent or promise. Talent is where you should apply if you have more than 5 years experience, you're later in your career, you can prove your thought leadership through your skills and achievements, and this is for more senior people, okay? Those who apply under exceptional promise have less than 5 years experience, you're earlier in your career, and you can prove your potential to be a leader through your skills and achievements. Students, graduates, and more junior. A lot of people have said, I've got 7 years experience, but I want to apply for exceptional promise. Or no, that wouldn't work because you've got more than 5 years experience. And if you want to go for exceptional promise, the risk to you is that the assessor will assess you under talent, even though you've looked at the promise criteria. Okay, so you have to make a judgment call and make an honest one. People say, well, I've got 7 years experience, but it's easier to apply for promise. Again, no, the assessor will say, well, you've got more than 5 years experience, you should go under talent. So I'm going to assess you under talent, even though you've got promise evidence. So just be careful about that. Don't just go for the easier one, go for the one that's right for you. And if you feel like you've got more than 5 years experience, but you don't have the documents for the criteria, then you really need to look at, okay, how can you improve your application? Okay, to fulfill the criteria, because it's about fulfilling the criteria. Okay. These are some examples of leadership. Okay, you need to provide some thought leadership in your field. Okay, not only within your own companies, but also outside in the community, in the industry, because this visa is not a job visa, because if it was, you would go under the skilled worker. This is an exceptional talent or exceptional promise visa. So you need to show your exceptional talent in the digital tech field. And these are just some of the examples that you can show. And you can see that they want you to be out there. You should have a public facing profile. You should be speaking at big events. You should win awards. You can write articles. You have a high salary, or you're participating on panels, or being a judge at competitions. So this is what Technation have asked for, to show your leadership skills. Okay, so this is where the criteria is for leadership. That's the mandatory criteria. This is one that a lot of people struggle with because they're so busy working in their day-to-day jobs that they forget to look at their own personal brand and their thought leadership in this space. But this is what Technation have wanted you to show for thought leadership and leadership skills. Okay, so under the talent, they want you to show that you're a leader, and under promise, it's a potential to be leading talent. Very similar in that you should still be doing it. It's just the level is different. For talent, it's quite high criteria, whereas with promise, it's a potential, but you still have to be doing it. You can also pick 2 out of 4 options. So these are optional criteria, 2 out of 4. You need to show innovation. You need to show volunteer work, which is proof of recognition for work outside of your job that contributes to the advancement of the sector. You can show technical, commercial, entrepreneurial contributions to the field, and you can show academic contributions. You only need to choose 2 out of 4. Okay, and these criteria should make up 10 documents. Let's go back and just clarify this. 3 out of 5 criteria, submit 10 documents. Determine whether or not you're exceptional talent or promise. You have to show leadership, 3 to 4 examples of leadership, because it's 10 documents. And then 3 to 4 examples of 2 out of 4 options that you're going to choose. what I ask my clients to always do is give me 3 examples of leadership. If you're going to choose innovation, 3 examples of innovation, 3 examples of impact, say. So that's 3, 3, and 3, which is 9 documents, but you can submit 10. So I would put the 4th document or the 10th document under a criteria that you've already selected to strengthen that criteria, because that's your strongest criteria. Okay. What I see most people select is innovation, volunteer work, and impact. Those are the 3 main criteria that people select. So they can go innovation and impact, innovation and volunteer work, or volunteer work and impact here. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So again, this is the process. I've already kind of given you an idea of the process. So stage 1 has 2 steps. Pay $456 online at the Home Office. Okay. This is the date of your submission, the date that they deem that you have submitted your application. But in reality, you've got 15 working days to then upload in step 2 your documents onto the TechNation portal. Hit submit. It can take TechNation assessors up to 8 weeks. On average, it has been about 3 to 4 weeks. They tell you through the Home Office whether or not you are successful or unsuccessful. If you are unsuccessful, you've got a chance to appeal. You've got 28 calendar days to appeal, and they've got 28 calendar days to come back with a response. Either you're unsuccessful again, or you are successful based on the appeal, and you can go for stage 2 Home Office visa application. This is where you would switch if you are on a current visa. Okay, so depending on which visa you're on, you need to either, you can submit in the UK, or you may have to go back to your home country to apply for the global talent. So this really depends. I don't deal with this stage. So this is a immigration lawyer stage. So if you've got any questions here, you can seek their advice, but I don't help with this one. You pay £152, which isn't a lot, but what is a lot is the immigration health surcharge, because you have to pay that upfront per person. When I applied, it was £200 per year. So I was on a 5-year visa, so it cost me £1,000. But now it's $624, I think, for the applicant. And if that on a 5-year visa, that's 624 times 5. So that's about £3,000. And then don't forget, if you've got dependents, spouses, it's can be quite a lot. Biometric fee for me back then, it was only £20. So I don't know what it is now. They take up to from 3 to 8 weeks to provide you with because you have to submit your passport and everything, and then supply you with the visa. For me, when I applied for stage 2, I was already in the UK, and when I went to get my fingerprints done, I mean, the hardest part was booking the appointment, because you have to find a slot. Once I got my slot, I submitted some documents, I did my fingerprints, and I got my answer pretty quickly, probably in 2 weeks. So but it can take from 3 to 8 weeks, and depending on whether or not you're applying in the UK or in your home country. So it's different for different people, but they're kind of the timelines. So I do help a lot of people with questions. Am I eligible? How do they present their documents? What's relevant? Because there's a lot of criteria and you have to make sure that you meet them. Who can be my experts? How do I show my innovations and impact and show that I'm an exceptional leader? How much experience do I need? And I've received an unsuccessful result. What should I do? Should I appeal? So I help with all of these. This is why I've got lots of insights, because I help people with appeals and I see decisions from the assessors and I see what they're looking for. But by all means, I help with drafting the appeals as well when they receive an unsuccessful decision. Sometimes it's better off not even appealing. It's better to just resubmit a fresh application. So that's something that I discuss with all clients, that and all their evidence, the questions they have. How I can help you, because we're on now a really strict timeline with TechNation. I still am doing eligibility checks, but it depends how far you are in the process. I'm helping with strategy sessions, especially if people still want to submit and they're already collating their evidence, because they can submit very quickly. I'm also helping with reviewing applications as well. So if you want my review package, we always go for a strategy session and then review. So that's just $17.50, and then upgrade and pay an extra $17.50. Some people who feel like they don't need that, they can go straight and go into the membership area. And I've got lots of templates. I've got lots of explainer videos as well. And I don't provide content because that would breach the TechNation guidelines. I only provide structure and help you tell your story and give you ideas on how to structure your application and your letters as well. So that is there, and I've got loads of explainer videos and loads of tips and how your applications and documents could look like, because it's really hard starting from scratch, and you could do that. Once you watch all my videos, you have a clear idea of how your documents should look like. It's not just about content, it's about structure as well. It's important to make your application as visually appealing as possible, even though the content is also important. If you think about it, when I work with my clients and when we upload all the documents, and then when we finally get the final version downloaded in PDF, I go through it. It's about 80 to 90 pages. That's a lot for someone to read. And if it's all just text, it can be quite boring to read. But this is about you and your story. You don't want someone to look at it and go, oh, I don't really want to read this. You want to make it as visually appealing and easy to read, and want them to read it and hear your story about why you want to be in the UK and why you deserve to be in the UK, and that you should be endorsed with exceptional talent. So definitely my membership area will help show how you should structure your evidence. Or if you want, I can give quick consultations if you just want to ask a few questions and we can go through things. I do offer consultations, especially now when time is of the essence. I can definitely take on some consultations. I'm not doing my bespoke coaching package, if you see my website, because my bespoke coaching package is an 8-week package. We don't have time for that. So we only have time for a strategy session and my review package. So that's the only thing I can offer right now. All these things I can offer. Hopefully I can help you if you want. If not, you may just sit this out and wait for the new endorsing body to come, and then come back and chat to me, and I'll have hopefully more information then and decide what we're doing. And hopefully the guidelines won't change too much. And let's see what the new endorsing body says. So here's my website. Please have a look, go on to it. You can, there's lots of information on there. So that's my website there, www.michellehewer.co.uk. And just finally, my top tips is, this is your chance to tell your unique story. Everyone has a story to tell. Hopefully it's a professional story. Yes, there's a bit of personal story that can come into it, but it's about your professional story, your professional achievements, and what you can do in the UK if you are successful. Okay, they need you. You need to convince them that they need you. Your tech network is very important, okay, because you're asking people, your experts, to write about you as an exceptionally talented leader in tech, or a potential to be exceptional talent. So you really do need to look at your network, and these people need to be senior. They need to have a public facing profile themselves. Okay. And you need to really look at your own self-promotion. It is really hard, I know. And this is why it's easier to promote someone else. So I love promoting my clients. I can see the work they've done is amazing, but it's very hard for them to do it themselves. So I come in and I help, them see how great they are, and help self-promoting themselves. Don't forget, the date of payment at the Home Office is the date of submission, and you must upload your documents within 15 working days on the TechNation portal, bearing in mind that TechNation are ceasing to exist on the 31st of March. So you need to work backwards, okay, and submit as soon as possible, or even pay and then know that you've got 15 working days to keep working on your documents if you want to, or that you must submit your documents within the 15 days, working days. please contact me sooner rather than later if you need support, because then I can obviously fit you in. But I'm getting really busy now. Like, I'm working on trying to get my clients to submit, but also not rush, okay? Because when you rush, you make mistakes. Unfortunately, the announcement has caused people to rush. I've had so many calls where, people who aren't even in the process just yet, they haven't even thought about this, but then they heard that this was happening and they want to rush and submit. That is entirely up to you if you want to do that, but maybe it's worth waiting to see. That would be your decision, but I will support whatever decision you make and see what we can do in the short amount of time that we have. But I've been contacted by people who've been watching me for 2 years and they're wanting to submit, and, looking at their evidence and documents, there is a chance to do this quickly. So it really depends on where you are at the moment and whether or not you can fulfill the criteria. And I can talk to you definitely if you need my support. So that's it from me. You can watch my YouTube videos. You can go onto my website. You can email me as well. I do have a newsletter that goes out. So if you do want to subscribe to my newsletter, I will put it in the link below for you to subscribe, because I might be giving more updates either on video or through my YouTube channel. I hope this has really helped you maybe come to a decision on what to do, or I'm sorry if it's confused you even more. We are in uncertain times at the moment, but the good news is we will get some answers soon. And hopefully, if you want to have a chat, I can talk you through it to see what's the best decision for you. But I can't help you decide when you should submit. That's for you to decide, and I can help support you as much as I can. But yeah, hopefully, wishing you all the best, and hopefully we'll see you soon. And all I can say is best of luck, and chat to you soon. Bye.